You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. As a life coach, Nancy can teach you how to stay strong under pressure and work through challenges you face. Being legally blind, Nancy inspires others to be resilient in overcoming obstacles and live full out. You can ask Nancy for advice in your life on relationships, finance, business, health, and more. Just call in at 800-333-0001. Once again, that's 800-333-0001. Now, here's Nancy.
Hello, and thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Nancy Solari, and this is the Living Full Out Show. And today we're going to be talking about rebuilding your life. So for all of you out there who feel like you missed the boat, or, you had to settle for a childhood that was less than desirable, and maybe you felt wronged by somebody else, today is the day that we turn that page, that we rebuild our life, that you really visualize who you want to be, where you want to be, who you want to be with, right? And let's make that happen. That's a large part of what it means to live full out. And also, we're going to be joined in our next segment with Danielle Jeune, who's going to share with us her story about dealing with abandonment from her mom and just abuse from a stepmom and just navigating, people who are drinkers in her life and just trying to find her way to happy. How many people are raising their hand on that one, right? We've all been there. And sometimes our life is full of twists and turns and not just one challenge, but a whole bag full. And we also want to make sure that beyond today's show that you stay supported. Go to livingfullout.com, go to our radio page. All of our episodes are there for you. Just, pick the theme that most resonates with what you're going through. And if you're on the go, go to our Living Full Out app. You can listen to the show 24/7. And we just want to make sure that you are supported in your path to living full out. Now, I am getting word from our producer that we do have a listener on the line. We're going to go check in with them. Hi, welcome to Living Full Out Show.
Hi, thank you.
Hi, how can I help you?
So I'm calling because I had a question. So I wanted to know how to start a business and not fear failing, basically.
Now you've brought out the big, heavy word, fear and failing. Oh, dun, dun, dun,
Yeah.
dun. Well, let me ask you a question, because when people call in, I'm most interested in what they want out of their life. For you, sounds like a business. That's exciting. But it's also the words that we choose to attach to something exciting. So you've attached fear and you've attached failing. And so you want to start to look at the words that you say out loud, but also the words that you say to yourself. And I guess one of the questions I have for you is there a time or something that you can remember where you have failed, where you feel like that was in the failure bucket?
To be honest, I just think about one thing, like when I was in school, in college. So I just dropped a class because I was too hard and I felt like, I could have done much better. So from that experience, it's something quite simple, but for me, it was so huge to drop it like that. And I felt like wasting like a lot of money and a lot of time. So from that, like when I think about going into a business or going into something this big compared to a class, I'm like, ugh. I have to have like all the courage in the world to really think about it deeply. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Well, absolutely. But what I want you to look at is I want you to become your best friend, your own coach. So what you've done now is you attach to that one class. And I'm raising my hand because I don't know anybody who hasn't had a class that's hard. And there's been plenty of people who have withdrawn and dropped classes. But look at that. You've now attached wasting money, wasting time, and perhaps failing to just that one class. And we have to find a way for you to let that go, because you don't want to attach that to, in this case, a business, maybe in another case, a relationship, right? And so what you're doing here is you're giving that moment in time, you're giving that class way too much power. It was just a class. Okay? It was just money. It was just money spent not the most wisely. And we've all done that. It was just a little bit of time wasted. We've all done that. Right? And
yes.
And what if you had stayed with that class? You had just kind of been kind of bullheaded. And what if you'd stayed with that class and you're like, oh, I'm staying in it. And what if your GPA had come down and that prevented other opportunities? So why I say this is be careful to give that one moment in time, that one class, so much power. Because now let's talk about this exciting business. If you could create a business, what would you want it to be? Do you have an idea?
Since yes, I have many ideas, to be honest, because even when I was younger, I've always been, I wouldn't say talented, but like good with using my hands. So creating clothes, doing pottery, painting. So I was, I've always wanted to do something in like the art thing or clothes. So yeah, I have many ideas, to be honest. So yeah.
Well, I love it. I love it. I mean, I love pottery. I love clothes. Otherwise, I'd be wearing nothing. I love clothes. The thing is what if you allow that one class in that one moment of time scare you from opening this business, and you never do it? You shut it down. You say it's just going to be I'm going to waste time. I'm going to waste money. And why even try? Think about all those recipients of your beautiful craft, your beautiful work. There's somebody who's not going to be able to wear that beautiful apparel that you create. There's somebody who's not going to be able to show off your beautiful pottery in their kitchen. So when you play small, or when you allow a past moment to hold you back from the future, think of all those customers that lose. Your customers, your future customers are begging for you to not listen to the past you. Your future customers are saying, we need clothes, we need pottery, okay? And so you just have to put that class right where it is. It's called the past. And you want to embrace the present, which is you and this budding entrepreneurial mindset that you have. And then you want to run, leap, hop into the future, and those are your customers. Yeah, I think it's exciting.
I can do it. Definitely. Thank you. I feel like now, yes, I'm ready.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
You know what? You can absolutely do this. And I'm telling you, I would love to wear your clothes. I would love to show off your pottery.
Thank
You've
you
already
much.
got a customer in the waiting. So today,
thank you. That's
yeah. So let your wildest dreams come true and go for it. Okay?
Okay, I will.
Thank you for calling. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Nancy. Oh, my name is Camille, by the way. It's very nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Camille. Thank you so much for calling in.
Bye. No problem.
Bye.
Take care.
And for everybody listening, I love that she asked that question, right? We're talking today about rebuilding our life. And part of that rebuilding is at some point doing a little remodeling, right? Picture a house, right? And over the years, we have furniture that gets worn down. It's not to say if you live in that house for 50 years, you're always going to have the same couch. You're never going to repaint the walls. You're never going to do any remodeling. You are. But just like how you would remodel a room, you have to remodel your mind. You have to remodel your intentions. You have to let go of the times that you failed, the times that you wasted money, wasted time. Because I am telling you, the game of wasting money and wasting time is never going to end. I can't tell you how many people sign up for like subscription services and then they're like, I'm going to cancel that. 6 months later, oh man, I still haven't canceled that, right? We've all been there. Or we've bought something novelty, kind of quirky, kind of funny, used it one time, never used it again, right? We've all done that. And so along the way of life, you really have to look at rebuilding your life not as failing, not as letting go, but embracing that future, embracing that exciting aspect of life that, when you want to turn the page and write your next chapter of your life, you can. If you want to pull out a blank canvas and whip out a paintbrush and draw it up, your own fantasy, your own reality, you can. So you just have to believe it's possible. I believe in you, but you have to believe in you too. So stay with us. We're going to be coming up in our next segment with Danielle Jeune, who's going to share with us about her journey of overcoming abandonment, finding herself, and being able to stand on her own 2 feet today and really be proud of who she is. But she did have to rebuild her life, and now today she is living full out in a big way. So stay with us. I'm Nancy Solari. This is the Living Full Out Show. We'll be back.
Hi, professional skateboarder Tony Hawk here with Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck to remind you to get moving every day.
Because when you get moving an hour a day,
you'll have the energy to skate through anything.
Nice play on words, Doc.
That's how I roll, Bugs. So whether you like to work the half pipe,
now that's catching air,
kick the soccer ball around, or dance in your room,
just move it your way.
For an hour a day.
The way you like to move, as long as you're moving.
Carve out some time every day and get active. Because it's time to do a 180 on what you think exercise is.
Because it can be whatever you want it to be. So be a player.
Be a player.
Get up and play an hour a day, Doc. Check out how to be a player at letsmove.gov.
Head online to get tips on great ways to get moving every day.
At www.letsmove.gov. Let's hear that one more time, Doc. That's www.letsmove.gov. A message from the Ad Council and HHS.
I'm Nancy Solari, certified life and business coach. I want to invite you to the Personal Development Boot Camp. During the boot camp, we're going to be looking at taking those insecurities that you have and getting rid of them. We're also going to look at ways in which you can thrive and live a life full of purpose. Go to livingfullout.com/bootcamp, livingfullout.com/bootcamp to sign up. I believe in you, and here's to you living your life full out.
I'm Sarah, and this is my story.
I'm Ellen, and this is my story.
One night, I was at a bar.
I
was having fun with my friends.
I
had one too many drinks.
I
got behind the wheel to go home.
I got a cab to go home.
All of a sudden, from out of nowhere, a squirrel ran across the road. It happened so quickly, I barely had time to react.
The cabbie barely had time to react.
I swerved.
The cab swerved.
I can't believe it. I hit a guy.
I cannot believe it. The cabbie just missed a guy.
I wish I took a cab.
Thank goodness I took a cab.
You have the choice to save a life. Don't drive buzzed. It's a decision you'll never regret. Buzzed driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the Department of Transportation and the Ad Council.
Hey, America, we need to have a little talk. We've got more food than we know what to do with in this country, yet 17 million kids in America are struggling with hunger. Makes no sense. Luckily, the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks has volunteers gathering excess food and getting it to hungry kids. They're kind of like food angels. Hey, become a food angel yourself by supporting Feeding America and your local food bank at feedingamerica.org. We can't do it without your help. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
If you think depression is all in a person's head, you're right. It's a brain illness. And like other illnesses, it has symptoms. Depression can make those who suffer from it feel hopeless. It can even lead to suicide. Learn how to stop depression from taking another life. Call SAVE, Suicide Awareness Voices of Education, 1-888-511-SAVE, on the web at save.org.
I'm Alec Baldwin. Like any parent, I'm concerned about children's health. Many kids don't eat as they should and are at risk for long-term health problems like diabetes and heart disease. But here's good news. Fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and other low-fat vegetarian foods can protect our kids and keep the rest of the family healthy too. For a free booklet, call the Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine at 1-877-685-KIDS or visit www.kidsgethealthy.org.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. With Nancy's expertise, you'll learn how to embrace your potential and strive for success. If you have a question or need further support, send us an email at connect@livingfullout.com. Now, here's Nancy.
Welcome back. I'm Nancy Solari, and this is the Living Full Out Show. And today we are talking about rebuilding your life. And we have brought you an inspirational guest today, Danielle Jeune, who's a great example of doing that because she has had many different circumstances pointed her direction forcefully, unexpectedly, but yet she made a beautiful life out of many scary, awkward circumstances. And you all will know what I mean as we dig in, but I'd like to very much welcome Danielle to the show.
Hello.
Well, hi. Happy to have you. So, Danielle,
thank you so much.
Now, Danielle, there is so much to your story. I'm going to just jump on in. And I want to give a little context to our community here because I know that your parents, your biological parents, had divorced when you were 2. And they both went on to get remarried, and there was a time around Hurricane Andrew where it was devastating for your mom's home, and circumstances had it be where she moved out of state, out of Florida to Ohio, which had you then move from living with her full time to living with your dad. And I guess why I bring that up first is because I think so many of us as kids, we get kind of shuffled around. You know, we go through divorces and we have to navigate living with one parent and then another parent. And why was it that when your mom left, you felt so abandoned?
Sure. I'm a little girl. I'm about 9 years old, and you hit the nail perfectly. You know, you didn't choose this as a child to not be with both your parents. You know, you want to come into this world and see both people that you love the most. And it felt like a part of me was ripped away. You know, my mom was naive. She's Canadian, and it's not like my mom ran off and didn't try to get me. She just assumed she was the mother and that she could fight for me, because in the 80s, it was just assumed that women got the children, but that was not my case. So, you know, as a little girl, you just want your mom.
Yeah, no, my mom is one of my best friends, so I definitely get that. And so here was 6-7-year-old Danielle lived with your dad, and you did love your dad, but your stepmom, although, you know, in the early stages of that, your connection with her, it was magical and great. She quickly found your vulnerabilities and share with us about the cutting words that she said to you when she was pregnant with your sister.
Yes. I'll never forget it. I was sitting on the floor. It was a little fight, like any little girl that was just got in, not even in trouble, but just something happened to where I was being reprimanded with words and was like, and if you are ever bad, I will divorce your father and it will be your fault. And would you want your baby sister to go through the most pain that you ever went through?
Like, I don't even know what you do, Danielle, with like those thoughts. I mean, what does she want you to say? Yes, please sign me up. Like to me, that's so much pressure. That is so much pressure. Oh. And I know your dad was working the family business, working 60, hours, 60 to 80 hours a week. And your stepmom, besides those cutting words, she actually physically abused you. How did she do that?
There's lines, right? Some people with discipline believe in belts or hitting. And, I think to some, I think we all have a different spectrum of what physical abuse is, but I wasn't her biological child. So I do think that there were lines like that she never should have touched me. But, it was physical with belts, hands, hitting. But there were times that it was like punching in the face, that there's just lines that should not have been crossed ever, whether even if you are believing in corporal punishment. But it just took it to a level that was never okay.
Yeah, and I'm sorry that you went through that. I mean, I oftentimes think if we could just go back and give, 10-year-old you a big hug, right? Because that's an unimaginable place to be in. And you did get a little bit lucky, though. Around 15, in school, you met, well, your ex-husband today, but he would become your husband eventually. And I know that was really a shining moment in all that stress. And you and him had a beautiful whirlwind, childhood, adolescence, love affair until he kind of turned into a little bit of a partier and kind of exited the picture for a little. But when that happened, though, your stepmom once again kind of had your number. And while you were dealing with heartbreak, how did she further torture you emotionally?
While after we broke up, because yes, I was the goody two shoes, and I did water polo. I played sports, but she said that I wasn't allowed to do that either. That I just had to stay home and help take care of my sister. So I truly didn't have an outlet to heal from, your first high school, first love breakup. A lot of control happened to me as a young girl.
Well, I remember personally as a teenager working out, doing Jane Fonda's workout videos and all that. But your stepmom had you actually do weigh-ins. Why was what you weighed so important to her?
Well, there was some truth to, while I was in a lot of pain from my breakup, I wasn't eating as much at the time. I mean, it's kind of natural. Either, I feel, as I am a nurse practitioner, so I teach my patients, sometimes you either overeat or undereat. That's a normal reaction. But as I grew older, I didn't realize that she was projecting her own eating disorder onto me. So in a way, in the cyclic thinking, it was like she was afraid was I having an eating disorder and projecting it onto me. So I had to be weighed every week. But then because I am a strong person, even as a young girl, I would get pissed and I would be like, oh, I'm just not going to be that weight, because it was this internal power that I had struggle. It's like, how can I feel somewhat strong within this really restrictive environment? So it was this essentially toxic cycle to where I had to be weighed, but then I didn't want to eat as much because I wanted to tell her to leave me alone. But in the end, when you're a teenager, you're not thinking rationally. Are all these thoughts proper? No, but it was my only way to survive.
Well, I'm telling you, those teenagers, you guys get crafty and creative when you need to, right? It's a wild ride, the teenage world. But stay with us, everyone. We're going to be coming back with more of Danielle's story because, abuse and emotional torture from a parent or a step-parent, we need to talk about those things so that, we can look for signs so that, we can protect children who can't protect themselves. So stay with us. I am Nancy Saleri. This is the Living Full Out Show, and today it's all about rebuilding your life. And we're learning lessons today from Danielle on how to do that. We'll be right back after this break.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Saleri.
There are many sounds in your day-to-day life. There are sounds that wake you up. Sounds that make you smile. Sounds that energize you. And sounds that help you relax. But there are some sounds that can alert you to danger and can help save lives. Wireless emergency alerts, now on many mobile devices, use a unique sound and vibration to bring you information about severe weather events, Amber Alerts, or other emergencies in your area. With critical information from local sources you know and trust, you can be in the know, wherever you are. For more information, visit ready.gov/alerts. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Hello, my name is Jeffrey, but people in this town call me Maniac. They call me that because I'm the fastest runner in town. But just because everyone knows who I am doesn't mean I belong. I don't really belong anywhere. You see, I'm an orphan, and I wander the streets just looking for a place that I can truly call home. My name is Maniac McGee, and I'm all alone. Explore new worlds. Read my story in the novel Maniac McGee by Jerry Spinelli. For other great book ideas, visit your local library or log on to literacy.gov. Brought to you by the Library of Congress and the Ad Council.
Look for the bare necessities.
The bare necessities of healthy living are easier than you think.
You better believe it.
And the food pyramid shows you the way. With just the right amount of exercise and the necessary grains, vegetables, fruits, milk, and meats and beans.
Just the bare necessities of life.
So eat right, be active, and have fun.
Yeah, man.
For your own path to a healthier you, visit mypyramid.gov.
This is really living.
This message brought to you by the U.S. Department of Agriculture and the Ad Council.
Hi, my name is Nancy Solari, host of the Living Full Out Show. I am excited to let you know that we are now associated with Alexa. If you have Alexa in your house and you didn't know that, go ahead and find Living Full Out because you can hear us anytime you want, and we're there for you to keep you motivated. Go to your app store because we're located there as well. Just look for the Living Full Out radio show. It's important to us that we put out really inspiring programming, but we want to make sure that you have it at your fingertips when you need us most. We never know when those challenges are going to come, when we're going to feel lonely and need that motivation. So just know that when you need us, we're here for you. Check out Alexa, the app stores, or go to livingfullout.com. Here's to you living full out.
What if I could tell you that a full-blown wildfire was going to occur tomorrow right where you live? Tell you exactly which neighborhoods it would engulf and how fast it would do it. The first thing you would do is talk with your loved ones and make a plan today. It's true, I can't tell you a wildfire will strike tomorrow, but shouldn't you make a plan anyway? Go to ready.gov/communicate and make your emergency plan today. Don't wait, communicate. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Driving has a rhythm all its own. Don't wreck it with a text. Before you get behind the wheel, silence your phone. Or better yet, designate a texter. For more text-free driving tips, visit stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. As a life coach, Nancy can teach you how to stay strong under pressure and work through challenges you face. Being legally blind, Nancy inspires others to be resilient in overcoming obstacles and live full out. You can ask Nancy for advice in your life on relationships, finance, business, health, and more. Just call in at 800-333-0001. Once again, that's 800-333-0001. Now, here's Nancy.
Thank you for joining us today. I'm Nancy Solari, and this is the Living Full Out Show. And today we are talking about rebuilding your life, and that may be just claiming that career that you've always wanted. It may be rebuilding relationships that have been lost or maybe disconnected. But the thing is, the time is now to take the power back, to put your life on a path that you can be proud of. And we're going to continue our interview now with Danielle Jeune, who's sharing with us, about the different levels of abuse and abandonment, and really the struggle to find herself and claim her life and rebuild her life, which we're getting into now. So welcome back, Danielle.
Thank you so much.
So Danielle, I am, my audience knows this, I am just a sucker for romance, just both hands in the air, love romance. And you had loved your teenage boyfriend, and it just, just disconnected just due to, adolescence, right? But that love never wavered. And you reconnected with him again when you were in college, and actually you all got married and had a good marriage for about from 19 to about 35. That's a long span of time. Mm-hmm. But in that span of time is really where, we're talking today about rebuilding one's life. That's really where you had to peel away the layers of what Danielle wants and what she doesn't want. And I guess one of the first questions I have about this marriage, this relationship, is love was always there. That was a given. But what did you learn about his personality type that did not gel with yours?
I guess the party type never stopped. That's where it didn't gel. And honestly, spirituality as well. I always believed in God, and he was an atheist, and I didn't realize how much that would cause conflict.
And you know what? I appreciate that you're bringing both of those up, because I've found that over the year as well. I've dated all different men, Jewish and people who didn't believe and had no spiritual compass, to those who were very spiritual. And I agree. To me, that's a quality I look for as well. And along the way, you had 2 children together. Again, children born out of love. So same father, same mother. But along the way, you did end up joining Al-Anon. And why did you do that?
Sure. So I joined for a multitude of reasons. I've joined because the principle of Al-Anon is whether you've been affected by the disease of alcoholism. And you don't go just for one person at times. I've just had multiple people in my life that have issues with alcohol, and I figured out from Al-Anon where a lot of my pain and suffering came from.
And so when we consider, the personality of your ex, and when you and the party scene that he was in, and then you consider your stepmom and the triggers, I'm sure to this day, that are still within you of the torture that she did. What should someone in our audience know today if they're not an Al-Anon and they haven't gone to a meeting? What is something that they should learn about those personality types to look out for?
Yeah, of course. I'd say the big things is not taking accountability for their own actions and then projecting it onto you. That was a big lesson I've had to learn, because I'm very a strong person. So it's like, okay, it's my fault. Then I can control it, and then I can fix the problem, instead of realizing from the very beginning it was never me. It was them projecting their not taking accountability for their own actions. Does that make sense?
It absolutely makes sense. And I think if I could go back, you would have saved me from a lot of relationships that had that going on. The thing about wanting to help people, that's a large part of what it means to live full out, to stand by people, to trust people, to be loyal. And how hard was it on your heart? Eventually you got to a point, and it took you a long time to get there, that marriage of 19 to 35 years. What was, I guess, the final straw? Because you were not going to give up on this man that you love so much, the father of your 2 children. What broke the camel's back?
I'm sorry. So it was more him. He's saying he didn't want to be married anymore, but he didn't want a divorce, because I don't know, he knew what he wanted at the time. And it was just the 3rd time because we had separated when my son was 2, and I just got to the point where I couldn't keep playing a back and forth game. And, you can't say you don't want something, but then you don't want the commitment. So that is when I finally had to let go, and I had to do what was best for me. And I filed for divorce, and I had to pray, and I'd pray to God, and I'd be like, okay, I did what the next right thing was to file. But I did in my heart want him to fight for me, and that didn't happen. So I just kept moving forward.
And how does one have a good co-parenting relationship when they're dealing with a personality type like your ex, which is very different than yours? His lifestyle of being a businessman, and he's he can partake in parties, and you choose not to, and you choose a different life of health and healing and meditation. How do 2 such different parents find a way to raise 2 sons?
That's so, I think I'm seeing it more difficult now because I'm more who I am. While I was married to that different personality type, I guess I molded myself. So it wasn't as much conflict. Where now that I'm more spiritual, even more connected to Jesus, it's a very distinct difference that unfortunately my older son gets confused. But all I can do is be me and show my actions. And I know that my son will see me as he ages and what I've taught him. But it is very conflicting at times.
Well, and we have these triggers, right? Obviously, when your mom left, and she didn't want to leave you, but that set the trigger for abandonment. And then it was triggered again with your stepmom's cutting words, so that you were going to somehow have that be your sister's future. And then your ex-husband coming and going and you know, bringing up divorce. And how do you heal from that? How do you feel comfortable just being a party of one?
You know, I tell a lot of people as I have healed on my journey that I think our biggest wound is our abandonment from God. So that's the only way. I was in so much pain that the only thing left for me was for me to look up. So for me, that's how I healed. And you did speak of my meditation. And so, yeah, I meditate and I really have connected and found my love through there. It's like I had to re-love myself, love the inner child girl that we talk about, and love now, and integrate that adult and connect to something greater than me.
Well, and the thing is, we're talking today about rebuilding one's life, but, you know, it's not like you can completely cut your past, because obviously you're co-parenting with your ex. And, you know, how are you choosing to rebuild? I mean, obviously you're a health practitioner, so you've got a good career. You've got 2 sons that are healthy and happy, but, you know, many are fearful of dating. Like they're fearful of redating the same person over and over, the same triggers over and over. And that keeps a lot of people from moving forward.
You're
how
right.
are you choosing to do it?
So my new partner laughs that I was a cave woman for 2 years, because you hit the nail on the head. I stayed to myself. I wanted to heal, but I was still afraid to get hurt again. And then with this new person that's come into my life, it's just come from how I feel, but mainly their connection to their spirituality, being on the same page, that it's not a fight anymore. I guess I've learned love shouldn't be fighting. Yes, you can have passion, but that's not real what it should be. Like it's easy. I can communicate. I don't have to run. I don't have to be afraid. But it took me a long time to feel okay to date, but I did.
And if you were to go back in time, if you were to go and sit down with that 6-7-year-old Danielle just before she goes to, you know, live with your dad and stepmom, well before this long marriage, well before all these insights, what would you tell her?
You know, I would tell her that you are okay and that God loves you and that you're beautiful inside and out. I think that's what I needed to hear the most.
And those words are so easy, but we don't hear them enough. And I guess my last question for you, Danielle, because so many times people feel wronged by, let's say in your case, your stepmom, or they feel like they lost time in a relationship. You know, how have you dealt with forgiving yourself?
Well, I do really believe that being angry is like drinking your own poison. So I encourage others to not hold on to the resentment, to accept. I guess I'm grateful for the lesson because it's turned me into who I am now.
And who is that? If you've just rebuilt your life, who is this Danielle?
Yeah,
Step forward, spotlight.
Okay. This Danielle is more kind, more compassionate, and actually more fun.
Now, the funny thing is, Danielle, is right when you said that, the light in your entire being shines. And I'm sure a lot of our audience is going to recognize that as well. It's amazing when we speak our truth, when we speak hope, when we speak kind of happiness. It's like all of a sudden we got some get up in our skip and our hop, right? Mm-hmm. So,
totally.
But the what now?
I said totally.
Exactly. So, so last question, what does living full out mean to this new Danielle, this mover, the shaker?
This means like living in my authentic truth, being, I do speak the word of God way more than I ever felt comfortable before. And I just want to inspire women to love themselves enough and to know that we're never supposed to be abused. And that's all I want to say.
Amen, sister. I love it. Well, thank you so much, Danielle, for being on the show today, and we'll be wishing you all the best. Thank you so much.
Okay.
And for everybody listening, I mean, you know, we all have such relatable stories. We may not all have exactly the same experiences, but we've felt picked on, we felt bullied, we felt abused, and we would love to hear from you and perhaps have you on as an inspirational guest on our show. Just reach out to us at connect@livingfullout.com and let us know what you've been through. It's all about living life full out.
So I'm a cat, and I just moved in with this new human, and she's got this little toy she's always playing with, all day long. Tap, 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 bloop, bloop. She can't put it down. There it is. Oh, and get this. She even talks to it. Last week, she asked it for Chinese, and guess what? Egg rolls showed up. Like magic. Humans have cool toys.
A person is the best thing to happen to a shelter pet. Be that person. Adopt. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the ShelterPetProject.org.
So, Jacqueline.
Yes, Mom?
I wanted to talk to you about something, and... Oh, wait. Hold on. I just got a text.
Oh, wait, Mom. I just got a message. So many comments on my comment. Hey, guys, check out my new video game. Mom, what? Huh? What'd you say?
This weekend, unplug. Getting closer to nature can get you closer to your family. To find the forest nearest you, go to discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Thanks for asking, but I'd rather not send you nude pictures. I'm camera shy. I already said no. It's against my religion. I'm giving my dog a bath. You can have pictures of that. Pressure gives me hives. Under my clothes, I'm a robot. Hold on, let me ask my mom. Sorry, my webcam is broken. I'm worried they'll get passed around school. Unfortunately, I just had my clothes surgically attached to my body. If they got out, I might never be president. I'm already naked, under my clothes. Not even if you were all three Jonas Brothers. I have a rash. I have nudophobia. I have lizard skin. The more you ask, the less I want to. You're not the boss of me. Nudity makes me vomit. I'm a vampire, so I don't show up in pictures anyways. Your badgering has really killed the mood.
When someone is pressuring you to do something you don't want to, how many ways can you say no before they get the message? Let us know at that'snotcool.com. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
If you own a gun, you have a full-time responsibility. When you aren't using it, be sure it can't get into the hands of curious children, troubled teenagers, a thief, or anyone else who might misuse it. Your family, friends, and neighbors are all counting on you. Remember, always, lock it up. For more information on firearms storage safety, visit ncpc.org. This message brought to you by the National Crime Prevention Council, the Bureau of Justice Assistance, and the Ad Council.
This is a test to find out if you know it all when it comes to children. Name one of the leading killers of U.S. children age 1 to 13. What's the best way to protect children in a car crash? At what age and size should a child start using a booster seat?
Don't assume you know it all when it comes to car seats for your child. Go to safercar.gov/the-right-seat and know for sure. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
When I grow up, I want to be a new pair of blue jeans.
When I grow up, I want to be a kid's first computer.
I want to be a warm fleece on a cold day.
Football
I want to be a
stadium.
bike that races around the country.
I want to be a bench on a forest trail.
When I grow up, I don't want to be a piece of garbage. And if you recycle me, I won't be.
Give your garbage another life. Recycle. Learn how at iwanttoberecycled.org. Brought to you by Keep America Beautiful and the Ad Council.
Well, I finally did it. My student loan is totally paid off.
What? What about our plan to win the lottery and start living? You know, travel the world on matching yachts, wear enough jewelry to require a bodyguard, vacation on the French Riviera, and then buy it.
You know we're never going to win the lottery, right?
When it comes to financial stability, don't get left behind. Get tools and tips for saving at feedthepig.org. This message brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
When it comes to rebuilding your life, you first of all have to forgive yourself and let the past be in the past. Then from there, you want to visualize, what do you want out of life? What would make you most happy? And then we want to connect the dots to get you to that happy place.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. Nancy is here as a guide to show you how to rise above obstacles and savor each moment. If you have a question, call in live at 800-333-0001. That's 800-333-0001. And now, here's Nancy.
Well, thank you again for joining us today. I am Nancy Solari, and this is the Living Full Out Show, and we are talking about rebuilding our life. And the question of the day is, where does one begin, right? Well, it's going to be different for everyone. But I want, first of all, to put out there that the moments that you make a mistake are good moments. The times that you may have thought that you failed, you will only rebound and be stronger. And even if you fail 20 times in a row, you're going to get that one and you're going to make it happen. And the thing is even those moments, I call them gulp moments, where you feel that tightness in your throat and you just know something went sideways and it wasn't right, or you messed up or something. Those are good moments, because then you never know. Well, you would say you're never going to do them again, right? So you're immediately on the right track. And most of all, that forgiveness piece is also really important, because you have to kind of clear your mind of all the stresses, anxieties, the woulda, coulda, shouldas, in order to rebuild and have that positive momentum. And when we think about rebuilding, again, it's going to depend on the circumstance. I remember a time in my life where I went through a crazy financial pull in multiple directions. I had a business that required a lot of financing. I was starting a business. I had, different mortgages that I had to deal with. And, I found myself at a place where I needed to almost work around the clock to make it happen. And if I literally go back in time, I found myself working a job early mornings. I could I'd be there from 8 a.m. to 1. I worked at a printing shop, believe it or not. No one really knew that I was a printer master, but I am. And then after that, I would navigate to a second job, and I would do that from maybe 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock. And then I morphed once again and did another job from 5 o'clock to 10 o'clock. I kid you not. And then at 10 o'clock, I allowed myself to relax, only to do a graveyard shift at another job from 12 a.m. till about 4:30 a.m. Never quite got off on time. And I did that schedule for almost about 6 months, I would say. And it was hard. It was a spiritual walk. It took a lot of energy. It took a lot of focus. But it did put the money in my piggy bank, a big piggy bank, that helped me relieve that financial stress. And I only share that story with you because, when you hit that crossroad where you have to ante up, you have to be your best friend, you just got to dig in and get through it. Same with, times that I've gone through health challenges. I mean, going legally blind has not been a walk in the park. But every time I lost more and more of my vision, when the lines on the road started to disappear, I had to figure out a new way to get around. I couldn't drive anymore. So I took buses, I took cabs, I had an assistant and kind of found my way. And then when faces disappeared or steps started to disappear, I had to learn a cane, or I had to learn to ask for help. And so where I'm going with this is rebuilding one's life really starts with confidence, to know that what you want, that you deserve the life that you're visualizing, that you're striving for. So you got to have the confidence. Number 2, you got to be putting in the hard work. You got to be willing to ask for help. Be humble, because that's how you do connect those dots in between the painful time and the dream that you're shooting for. But then beyond all that, you have to trust. You have to trust others. You have to trust yourself, trust God. But the biggest thing is that when you take hard work, when you take focus, when you take trust, when you take all those elements and just make it into like this beautiful casserole called your life, guess what? You're living full out. You're learning from the painful times. You're celebrating the wins. And you're getting butterflies. You're getting sweaty palms. That is what it means to live full out. So in the entire Living Full Out family today, thanks you for listening, because we want you to succeed. We want you to find your happy place. We've got Ivy and Rich and Caleb and so many people that really want to make sure that you are on point, and we are there to catch you if you happen to fall. But you may not even need us, right? Because you're that focused, confident, trusting person. Also, make sure that you go to our social media sites if you'd like to get inspired or get educated. And also, our YouTube channel has many more videos just like this show to keep you inspired, or the 24-hour station. Just show after show after show, and so many great inspirational guests. And the thing is, you know, living full out is a journey. It is meant to be felt, and you can rebuild your life. You just have to say those words. I can, I will, I believe in myself. When you say those words, your heart believes it, your core believes it, others around you believe it, and then guess what? You are unstoppable. Here's to you living your life full out. We'll see you soon.
Thank you for listening to the Living Full Out Show with Nancy Solari. To learn more about this program, visit livingfullout.com for the latest episodes. Connect with the Living Full Out community by following us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and subscribing to our YouTube channel. If you have an inspirational story you want to share, email us at connect@livingfullout.com. Here's to you, living full out.